What's up, guys? If you clicked on this video, you're probably curious or have heard of the concept of job stacking, overemployment, working multiple full-time jobs. In 2023, I personally went from working one job to 3 corporate jobs. And in this video, I'm going to tell you all about it. If you're curious about doing it yourself, if this concept just intrigues you, in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything I went through in terms of the money I made, the risks, the fears, the challenges, and both personally and professionally. So if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll know exactly what it's like to work multiple full-time jobs, and you can avoid a lot of the mistakes I made along the way. All right, so a little bit of background on myself. I graduated college with a business degree, and I got right into product management. I was working for a big, lame healthcare company for about 5 years, and I tried to be a go-getter at this company, but it wasn't really rewarded or reciprocated. So I just took the paycheck and I went on many entrepreneurial ventures. I started coaching businesses. I helped other brands grow and scale to multiple 6 and 7 figures. So I really understand the ins and outs of digital entrepreneurship. And I got to this point where some of those other ventures had done well, but I was kind of burnt out and bored with the space. And I had this big aha moment. Yes, I was still collecting about 75, 80K for my one corporate remote job as a product manager, but it was just something that paid the bills. But the aha moment was, what if I can build a system where I have multiple remote jobs, but I automate and outsource them so I'm scaling my income like I have been in entrepreneurship, but I don't have to worry about getting new clients. I don't have to worry about all the challenges and pain points of building and growing and scaling a business yourself. And that's what led me into this phase of exploration. This was at the end of 2022. There was a really big hiring freeze and layoff. There were a ton of layoffs happening at the time. Facebook, Twitter, Amazon laid off, I think, 50,000 people in December of that year. But I still leaned in and I was committed to getting my next job offer in product management at 160K. That was my goal. So I started with market research and wanted to get clear on what was realistic for me. I had a few years of product management experience as a standard product manager. I bet I can get a senior product management role at 160K salary. That was through market research. That was the higher end of the spectrum. But rather than saying what feels doable as the next step, I decided to get clear on what is a realistic but extremely exciting outcome. And that outcome was doubling my current salary with the next offer that I got. So I committed to that vision, senior product manager at 160K, and I got to work on the resume. And through trying a ton of different AI tools, I found a few that were really helpful at scoring your resume. And it really helped me understand that you need to have a ton of buzzwords and specific. So I got my resume to a really good place and I started applying. I found some AI tools that helped me apply to jobs. And I hired a virtual assistant from the Philippines, which I had used VAs, which is, the short term for this person for my other business ventures. So I was like, this is no different. I'm going to hire a virtual assistant, train them how to apply for jobs. And what was so powerful is I started applying to 300, 400, 500 jobs per week, but it wasn't actually me doing it. It was this person I was paying a few dollars an hour, and the ROI I knew was going to be massive because I was like, there's no way I don't get this 6-figure job. So even if I have to pay them a couple hundred or even a few $1,000s now, it will be well worth the investment over time. So fast forward to February of 2023, the economy is still not doing great, but I booked literally 50 interviews in 30 days. I was getting so many recruiter calls. I couldn't even keep track of who was reaching out to me, what the companies were, and I was just doing my best to get through those first interviews so I could actually prepare and show up. But literally 50 interviews in 30 days across 2023, I probably did somewhere around 200 interviews, and it was wild. But I did end up landing a new job offer in product management at 160K about 3 months after I started the process, and I kept the initial remote role. So now I had 2 full-time jobs. The first one I was doing literally just a few hours of work a week. It was so automated. I had it dialed in a really great place. This new job was definitely more hands-on, and I was in charge of a really big project for this company, fully remote, but I had to spend a few months before I could consider stacking more jobs. So just really dialing it in, getting to structure the team in a way that everyone was autonomous and removing as many meetings as possible from our weekly structure. So again, I was able to compress that second job from 40 hours a week down to an extra 10-ish a week. So mid 2023, again, my bandwidth was expanding. So I started applying to more jobs, turned the system back on, had the virtual assistant keep applying for me, was taking a ton of interviews. And towards the end of the year, I landed that third offer at 150K and accepted it. So going into 2024, I had 3 roles, was earning 390K corporate. And I had gotten that last role also dialed into about 10 hours a week. So collectively about 25-ish hours. And I was able to actually build this platform and do some coaching around stacking stacking remote roles and just helping people with the interview process in general and using automation to get more jobs. People always ask, are you still working all those jobs? No, I started running paid ads for our coaching business. So 2 of those employers found out and let me go. I am still employed by one of them at the moment while we're building out this business. I am still employed by one of those companies. So what's the motivator here? For me, it was financial growth and stability. I wanted to earn multiple 6 figures and I didn't want to do it burning myself out in a business that was really challenging for me. So I know that the economy is pretty uncertain. I want to raise a family and have time freedom, and I need to have a lot of capital and be able to invest and have a great portfolio to do that. So while I love entrepreneurship and now we're building this business helping other people, that was my springboard in really creating a ton of wealth for myself without sacrificing my daily lifestyle. So what are some of the biggest challenges about going through this process? One is time management. If you're going to work not only one job but multiple roles and also be applying to enough jobs in this challenging market to actually get interviews and offers, time management is extremely important. Blocking your calendar, knowing when you're designating your time to each of your different responsibilities is extremely important. Personally, I love to not take meetings before noon if possible, and I love to use the earliest hours of the day, the first 1 to 2 hours of my workday, to guarantee I knock out whatever the most critical thing to move the ball forward is. So at a certain point in time, that was job applications, that was working on my resume, that was working on my portfolio, making sure every day I was moving that forward, getting out enough recruiter touch points, following up with recruiters. All those things were what was really moving the needle for me. 2 is managing your calendars between your different roles. This is especially challenging because most companies have locked down software, so it's challenging to have a master calendar where all your meetings go to. The best way to do this is carving out time. For me, the best workaround for this was anytime I got a meeting invite internally, before I accepted it, I would make sure to send a new invite to all my other calendars from my personal calendar saying busy to block that time off. So that was an accountability loop that I always knew that my calendars were synchronized. Quality of work. So how's the quality of work? Yes, I'm employed by 3 different people. Yes, I'm only working a few hours a week on each of those. Can I keep up the standard? I will say this is not going to be feasible for people who want to make a crazy impact on your organization. I'm sure you know people in your current roles who are go-getters, A players pouring into the company, but my lens is that companies at the end of the day are here to make revenue and profit. And yes, there's rah-rah in company culture, but at the end of the day, the minute companies need to cut fat to maintain profit margins, they may let you go. When I think about where is my energy best served, it's not just being an A player. I'm down to be a B player where I show up and I give more value than I'm being paid. If I'm generating 200K in value and I'm being paid 170K, that's great. I always do what I'm told to do and expected of in my role, but I don't go above and beyond. And that's just my lens. Because to me, I care more about my financial situation and my family and caring for those I love than buying into the sacrifice yourself for your company mentality or for that ego or for that job title. I'd rather have a bunch of lower job titles but have the bank account that I want. Who do I recommend? So having 3 different employers, managing 3 calendars, having a personal life. Is it for everyone? Definitely not. Personally, I was able to manage it well, but my skill set and my zone of genius is in optimization, is in operations, in building systems. So I was able to build systems that got the work done for me, often with minimal personal input, but also keeping the people happy and keeping solid relationships in those roles. So if you're looking to scale your income, I think it can be a great thing to do. You also have to acknowledge that there is inherent risk. I was let go from 2 of those roles and they weren't happy about it. But I also had a long-term vision and I knew why I was doing it. And I also want to say, if you are careful and do a good job at your role, it is really unlikely that you will be fired from your role or people will find out. Most people aren't running ads like I was expressing what I was doing publicly. Those are some closing comments. If this was helpful, if you're curious about job stacking, that was my experience. If this is helpful for you and you're curious about either stacking roles or even just looking to get that edge against those other 500 people applying to jobs, our team consults on the whole process of automating your job search, applying to 2,000 jobs a month with automation, dialing your cover letter and resume. If this appeals to you, you can click down below and book a call with our team.